Welcome back, everybody, to the creepy basement. Thank you for joining me. Today, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to go about carving scales into this carved largemouth bass. So you can see in the face region of the bass that I used a wood burning tool to do the scales, but for the body I'm going to stick with just using a knife. So the first step we're going to do is actually draw the scales on, and then after that we'll carve them. Okay, well, I've been struggling big time to draw these scales on this fish. It's taken me several tries. Yeah, I've gotten decently far, and then I realized I didn't like them, and the scales didn't look right. Maybe I didn't like the size a couple times. So then I erased it and sanded it down and started over, just to draw scales that I didn't like again. So that's awesome. But I think I finally got a scale pattern that I like, and that's a good size. So I am using a technique that I discovered on YouTube from a guy named Solarbaits. You guys should check him out. He makes a lot of really cool videos. But basically he made a stencil to draw the scale pattern on, and it helped me out quite a bit. So what I went ahead and did is I drew some scales about the size that I wanted on a piece of paper, and then I made this stencil just from paper, and then I kind of reinforced it with tape. So let's keep drawing. Hopefully we don't screw this up again, because I'm tired of erasing them and drawing them back on. It's getting really annoying. I'm tired of it. Okay, so now that we got that done, I drew a line, and that's just to keep everything consistent so I can line everything up and get them all measured out. I drew a dot on every 8 centimeters, because that's how big I want the scale tallness to be, I guess. So then next, I'm just going to take the stencil, and then I'm going to line it up like so. Move it over, draw a line, move it over, draw a line, line, until I'm done. And then I should be able to continue the lines and have a fish full of scales. Okay, well, I pretty much got the scales on there. So now what I'm going to do next is just go through and round them all off, and obviously continue it on the belly and on the top of the tail, kind of where I don't have the outlines drawn out yet. Also figured out that drawing it with a ruler was not really a good idea. Since it's curved, it's kind of hard to get the lines, and basically you just want them to stay parallel to each other, and not, really get any closer. But yeah, so that's what's next. That should only take forever. So now we finally got all the scales on, and that did not take long at all. It only took about 7 days. Yeah, it kind of takes a while, but that's fine. It didn't actually take 7 days, I'm just an idiot. But so now the next step is going to be to actually carve them out, which is surprisingly not as much of a pain in the booty as drawing them on for some reason. Okay, so now the way to carve, or at least the way I do it with a knife because I think it looks better than when you do it with a Dremel. So basically what you do is you just outline it. I'll go through and outline them with my X-Acto knife and then actually carve them out. I don't know, sometimes I like to outline them all first, and sometimes I like to outline a bit, carve it, and just work that way. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Okie dokie. So now I've got this little tail section outlined. I'm going to show you guys how I actually carve it now. So basically you go with your knife and then you just carve out this inside spot of each scale, if that makes any sense. So if you take your knife and do it like this, just towards where you made the cut, get that out. So then you get that, and that pretty much just gets either of these two sides. And you can't really tell now just because it's not really done that much, but once you start actually carving the scales, it'll look a lot better. So the easiest way to do it that I found is you have your hand with a knife, and then I usually I'm holding on to it with the other hand, and then I just use my thumb just to kind of really direct it. I use this hand to steer and then this hand just to push. And that way you can just very gently and it's easier to apply the right amount of pressure. Okay, so now we got this little section carved out. You can see it. If I tilt it like this, it's a little easier to see the scales. And I think they're looking pretty good. So I kind of sanded this part. So what you can do is, this is just 100 grit, and you can just kind of go in like that. Sometimes you can also just kind of go in diagonally, and you can just get each row at the same time. And then just take, I think this is 300 or 320. Take some 320 grit. Pretty much just like that. And then just, do that for the entire thing. Okay, so you can see I got the rest of the scales outlined with the X-Acto knife. And I'm a little more than halfway finished with actually carving all of them out. So I just wanted to show you guys real quick. My X-Acto knife tip always breaks when I outline them. A tip for you is don't get a new blade. For me, for some reason, I feel like I have more control just using this edge of the blade, that little corner. And I don't know, I feel like I like it more than an actual brand new X-Acto knife blade with the pointy tip. So just a tip for you. So another tip for you guys when you're carving out your scales. So not only do you want to, go along the lines here, get that part carved out, but also if you go right here in the middle, get that out, it just kind of, it's a lot closer to how scales actually look. Okay, and that is all of these scales finished. Oh yeah, the fish. That's what you were here for. So it is well, not finished. The scales are finished. So carving the scales with a knife, it definitely takes a lot longer than it would if you say burn them with a wood burner or engraved them with a rotary tool of some sort. But they look 20 times better. I hope this video was helpful for you. Don't give up on carving scales. It's a pain in the butt, but there is a big reward at the end, even though it is very time consuming. Thank you for sticking with me to the end of this video. If you want to see some of the other things that I've made, check out some of my other videos or head over to my Etsy or my Instagram page. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Is this thing going?